Here's why you should prioritize yourself, your breaks, your well-being over work, even though it feels like it's never enough time. Burnout is a very serious issue. It happened to me 4 years ago, and it was due to working very long hours for extended period of time. And I didn't even realize that I can push my body beyond the limits, that I even had limits. And just one day, at the end of a long work day, I just felt this almost like a metal band being placed on my forehead, and I just couldn't think anymore. It's a very weird experience, not being able to think at all, and at the same time it causes a lot of panic and anxiety because one, you don't know what's happening, two, you do not know how long it'll take to go back to normal, and we all have responsibilities and bills to pay, and it's just really scary. And for me to go back to normal took about good 3 months, I would say. To start with, I could only work 2-3 hours a day, probably more like 2. Even that was causing severe headaches and dizziness and nausea. Things even like watching movie would cause headaches. So it's basically brain inflammation. You get similar symptoms if you have things like concussions or meningitis, and it's very important to take care of yourself. It's really important to not to push past that breaking point. Do not test those limits. Just be aware that it can happen very easily. One day it's all fine, and next day it's basically you just feel like you can't function.